Supercoach NBA, it's finally here. We've been waiting for weeks, for what feels like maybe even months, for Supercoach NBA to come, but it is here. We're going to be taking you through all the players that we think are going to be good picks to start the season. We'll give you our thoughts as well on the players that are well-owned to kick things off a couple of hours into the launch. We'll go through the scoring, we'll go through the schedule, and tons more. Let's get into it. G'day everybody, welcome to the first NBA Supercoach show on Ball Logic. We hope you're all well, thanks for jumping in. We are of course live, so let us know first of all what you think of Supercoach NBA. There's going to be tons of questions, we're going to do our best to cover them all at the end of the show, but boys, first of all, this could be the first official formal podcast we've all done together. It's the Footy Codes Collide. We're here for a good cause though, Matty. It's NBA time.
Yeah, I just want to say the Supercoach gods giveth, the Supercoach gods taketh away. And we know, like, I'm always just referencing our Lord JC. I'm talking about Ja Moran, of course. Mate, Supercoach NBL's no more, and then Supercoach NBA pops up straight away.
Oh.
It's good timing, isn't it, Horse? You know, they take something away, they give us something back. It's and of course, we're well deep into redraft preseason. I think we've had about 36 episodes. We've done 24 team previews, mock drafts coming out our ass. It's all happening. Now we get to talk probably one of the favourite things and the reason we started the podcast to start with is Supercoach.
100%. So for those that don't know, this is how myself, Mattrix and Braino all met, through basketball. So this is sort of the thing that brought us all together. But the last time I podcasted with you guys, I got to talk about Dylan Brown. Why can't we talk about him here? Dillbags.
Dillbags at the Fiddler. That was a good year. He had fun. But it's going to be a good app. I'm looking forward to this. This is probably the most excited I've been about a live podcast for a bit anyway. Just when end of the footy season, we're kicking off and we're 40 days away from the NBA season kicking off. So we've got plenty of preseason to really dive in and dissect all of these players and all of these teams. So on the show, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and build a team for you from scratch. We'll talk you through it, our thoughts on the players we like, the players we don't like, and obviously we'll work our way through the salary cap to try and build the most complete team. We'll call it a consensus team amongst the three of us tonight, and we'll do that on share screen. So if you're listening to us on audio on delay, might be worth popping over to YouTube just to check it out if you want that visual reference. We'll also talk you through the scoring as well, just so you understand exactly what you're looking for, and the schedule. It's very important, isn't it, to be on top of the schedule, Matty, because some teams play 2 games in a week, some teams play 4 to 5 games in a week, so you've got to be on top of that.
Yeah, it's something that we're used to because we've been playing NBA, and some of the guys playing NBL will get it. But yeah, you can attack the schedule and really make some ground because it's not best ball, it's not best available. It's if your team for whatever reason has 4 games in that week, and your head-to-head opponent has 2 games that week, it's tough bickies. You have, I don't want to say abuse the schedule, but taken advantage of the schedule, and you'll get a leg up. And one thing I just wanted to mention is we do have a Patreon, and we will be, getting involved in some NBA content. I'm like, it only got announced this afternoon, but the schedule was something I have really been thinking about the second that NBA Supercoach dropped. So.
And Horse, we speak schedule a lot in fantasy land. Where we talk about, the Denver Nuggets having a really poor grand final week. If you're going to be drafting Jokic at 1, you might only get 2 games from him in the final. It's funnily enough, he only starts on a 2-game week as well. So, but there's a lot more to consider when it comes to Supercoach, isn't there, with all of the pricing and everything? Oh,
absolutely. We're looking for fallen gems of the past. There's players that could have been affected by injury last year, but you just nailed it, mate. You've got the most expensive player in Supercoach in Nikola Jokic on a 2-game week to start. So he could score his 60 or 70 points or what have you. But say if you've got I'm just pulling a name out of the hat here, Jalen Green at Phoenix, who could be in for a nice little role there. He's not as good as Jokic, but he could have 4 games that week and score better than Jokic. So we really need to be strategic with how we attack the first couple of weeks.
And I don't know about you guys, but I was putting a kind of a rough team together on First Thoughts earlier today. When as soon as it dropped, the first thing you do is you open the app and you start playing away. And I got to the end of my team and I had 3 or 4 spots to fill and like 4 mil in the bank. I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? You know, you can't have all of these guys we would love to have. You've got to make some sacrifices, a fair few sacrifices, and you've got to get a lot of bottom dollar cheapies on your bench and rookies and things like that. Thankfully, our friend, and he will be a friend of the show, I'm sure he'll watch, Cooper Flag. Thankfully, we've got him to fall back on at 5 mil because I think he should be 100% owned. We'll put that out there as the first player to recommend to start the year. But what we'll do is we'll flip over to share screen and we'll talk you through the stats to kick things off. So scoring-wise, for Supercoach, it is very, very simple. Probably even more simple. I don't know, you speak on behalf of the NBL format from last year, Matty, but it seems a lot simpler than the scoring, maybe too simple. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, the only criticism, like everything is things that I can work out. So I'm not too worried about it. But missed shots wasn't a thing in, I suppose, Supercoach basketball's first iteration in NBL. So you could really load up on those top scorers. But you really inefficient guys, you're going to find are losing a fair few points because of missed shots. One thing we do see disappear is like the double-double bonus, and the which is something that I suppose in a lot of points league formats, and like at its core, Supercoach is a points league. So in a lot of points leagues formats, that's something that you always look for someone that, you know, can sneak home and get you 10 rebounds for their 10 points, and you get an extra bonus of 5 points if they get to that. That's not there. And also blocks and steals being worth two a piece. But I've always sort of considered an assist harder to get than a rebound. I do think that maybe our point guards, who of course generally shoot the ball further away from the hoop, pass the ball, have more opportunities for turnovers. They'll probably get more negative stats, and honestly, they might be a bit hard done in this format.
Yeah, we were saying this before we went live. Horse, you jumped in because you're a busy man on the NFL podcast previously. So we were talking about the fact that maybe point guards are a bit dudded with this scoring system, being, you know, negative for a missed shot and a negative for a turnover, and they do that a lot. Point guards, they're relied upon to shift the ball around, and that comes with turnovers, sadly. How do you feel about this? Do you reckon there's a favoured position here in this format, even though there's no double doubles? I feel like maybe the big men, with rebounds and assists being valued at the same amount of points, could have a little bit of an advantage.
It's 100% the big men. So you look at the point scoring system there, and -1 for a missed shot. So you could have again, I'll use the same player, Jalen Green, who loves to throw up shots after shots after shots. And he might score 30 a night, but on 20 shots, if he's missed 10 of them, then that's only, 20 points if he scores 30? So...
And he usually gets 4 assists a game too. That's 16.
Yeah, that guy.
4 turnovers, though.
4 turnovers, that's right. Shout out to when him and KPJ were playing together there in Houston. That was ordinary, wasn't it? But yeah, this missed shot and missed turnover thing for point guards and perimeter players, it's really going to have an effect this year. So I guess it beckons the question, Matrix. I'll throw it to you for this one. Are we looking at those players that get the out-of-position rebounds, you Josh Harts, that don't really shoot the ball a lot but do a lot around the rim?
Yeah, and probably not Josh Hart because it's priced on last year, but maybe like a Jalen Williams is somebody that I'm targeting, and that's exactly, the reason is what you said there, like out of position rebounds, getting them there. I've been finding myself, because obviously this only dropped a couple hours ago, had a bit of a look, and I've just been flicking through. We've got plenty of tools on different websites that we use for fantasy, like looking at people's efficiencies and looking at turnovers, and so that you can really calculate how much their scoring is worth. So
and it's not just about looking at efficiency and going, yeah, this guy's good, he shoots 576 from the field, Nikola Jokic 576 from the field, but you've got to also look at the volume that they're getting through in terms of shots too, right? Like if they're only taking 6 shots and they don't shoot that well, it doesn't hurt you as much because they're probably only missing 3. So there's only -3 in stats. If they're taking 18, 19, 20 shots a game, that's when it starts to pose a problem. And your boy Jalen Green, who's somehow got 3 mentions in the first 10 minutes of this podcast.
That wasn't on my bingo card.
He's never seen a shot he doesn't like. Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas. Fuck, Brooklyn Nets are going to have some dramas. They're going to be fighting over who can miss the most this year. These guys are going to hurt you because they shoot on volume. So that's another thing to probably look into. And I guess we're only scratching the surface when it comes to tactics in this format. But that -1 for a missed shot will shake things up and make it a little bit harder to pick those, gun point guard guys. But there is some value across the board. I don't know how much you guys have dived into making a team yourself. I know that you guys have been toying around in the app, but it's probably worth us having a chat around the most owned guys to start things off. So we'll quickly bring that up and we'll have a look and we'll give our opinion on the guys that are the most owned as of the launch. Let's call it launch day. So let's hope this works. All coaches. Here we go. All right.
I'm pretty proud that I'm the first owner of Norman Powell in Australia. So. and Brandon Clark. So
but you're definitely the first owner of Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But typical Memphis fan always picks a home to start.
Does this Brandon Clark bloke play for Balmain or what's he do?
Yeah, no, he's not as good as Appy Coruscant.
My boy.
49% owned Cooper Flag. Should be 100% owned. $5 million for a guy who there's no. I think the big kicker for me is no Kyrie Irving. That's the big one for me. He's going to get a lot more usage in the first probably month and a half to 2 months of the season. I think Kyrie's predicted back end of November, so he should at least get a good month without Kyrie in the team. D'Lo's another guy I think we were throwing around, Matty, before the pod. But yeah, Cooper Flag, talk me out of it. 100% owned. There's no way that you can not have him in your team to start at $5 million.
I will not talk you out of it. He 100% should be owned. He's a gun. He will lose points, but it doesn't matter at $5 million. He's Nick Batum money at the moment. If I want to put it into perspective.
Oh man, Nick Batum, another one I didn't think we were going to be talking about in the first 12 minutes of the podcast. But yeah, get him in your team. A lot of these rookies, and we've seen the top three. Not Nick Batum. The first three guys on the list here, at 48% owned is Cooper Flag. Dylan Harper is 38%. Ace Bailey is 36.5%. Horse, it's the three rookies, and these are the enablers, we'll call it, if you play in the FPL world, that allow you to get the Jokic's, the Wembys, the Luka Doncic's in your team. You're going to need 4, 5, 6, 7 of these bottom dollar rookie guys, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. And that doesn't mean that you're going out and picking out the first 6 players that were drafted in last year's draft either. We're going to go through teams as we have within our Patreon. There's plenty of stories there that you can read through. We're looking for players that are of reasonable value. So we're talking our $5 million or under, but players that have got roles and enable you to make money out of them. So then you can use them as an upgrade into a better player. So we see there, you've got Cooper Flag, you've got Dylan Harper, you've got Ace Bailey. What's that? Picks 1, 2, and was he 4 or 5? So yeah, they're in the top 5 inside the draft, but as we go on, there'll be players that we could potentially look at that, might have been second-round players that have roles in other teams that may make us some money.
That's right, and, you're going to need to make some cash. It's a long season. It's a 23-week Supercoach season. So, there will need to be some money made, and that's going to be a very, very big priority. Honestly, I'd nearly argue that it's as or more important than footy season, cash gen. So yeah, definitely going to be important when the time comes to make that cash and cash these guys in for better, more guns. So Dylan Harper at the Spurs probably plays a secondary role to Stephon Castle. Mattrix, I know you're a Castle fan. It seems like a pretty no-brainer pick, really, doesn't it, Harper? The makings of a really solid NBA player are there. It's just the minutes of the question.
Yeah, it is the minutes, and Stephon Castle at $9 million, yeah, I'm not keen on that either. But yeah, I think fans have just looked at the top 5 picks and went and picked. I can get around it, but I do think that there are rookies that will have a better role to start than Harper. And just remember, this isn't like redraft or anything like we've been playing with NBA fantasy. It's just one trade away. You don't have to negotiate with somebody else to get them. You don't have to, you don't have to message them and say, I've got a can of Coke on my desk. You can come across and get it as you're playing in the work fantasy basketball competition.
You don't drink Coke.
Try to get, no, I definitely don't drink Coke. But yeah, like you don't have to do that. He's just one trade away. So yeah, I would probably say stay away from Dylan Harper.
Yeah, rate it. Ace Bailey, the third excitement machine in Utah. Didn't want to go to Utah, funnily enough. He wanted to go to a contender and wanted to go to a place that he could get some good minutes. And I mean, the question mark is maybe to start, he might play off the bench. Maybe to start, it'll be a little bit slow, but I think he's going to come good eventually. It's more a matter of whether you have the patience to stick with him for that long. Before he does come good, and inevitably Utah just shut everybody down, and Lauri Markkanen's done for the year, and then Ace Bailey comes into his own in Feb, March, April. That's probably every chance of happening. Talk to me about Jokic. I'm interested about this one, Horse. Maddie and I have had our chat before you hopped on. I want to know what you think about Jokic. $28 million. He's the most expensive player in the game by about 7 or 6 mil, I think, from memory. 31.9% owned. People have just gone and picked the player that got the most points last year. I think it's pretty simple. What are your thoughts on him? Are you starting with him? Are you looking at him?
I definitely won't be starting him, not just because of his price, but we'll get into scheduling later. They've only got 2 games in the first week. So, I mean, he might score well in both those games, but if someone's playing 4 games in that week that has a potential to outscore Jokic, then yeah. I mean, at 28 mil, he's got to score really well in both games just to keep that price level as well. So it's Jokic. I understand this, and he's one of the best basketballers we've seen in the NBA for the past 5 years. He does everything: assists, rebounds, blocks, shoots the threes, gets his teammates involved, all that sort of jazz. And shoots at a high percentage as well from the line, from the field, the whole lot. But he's going to drop price. He's not going to stay at 28 mil. So I reckon you can get him cheaper in weeks to come.
Some I agree with. I don't know whether he drops that much cash. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be $28 million player. And whether you want to pay for that up front and bank those points, I think anybody who starts with Jokic will probably struggle a little bit to put the rest of their squad together. I was sitting here in the studio first, and Matty hops in and he goes, "Oh yeah, I've got Jokic in my team, and I've got Giannis, and I've got fucking all these guns." And I'm like, "Cool, let me know when you've got 3 players left, and let me know how much cash you got in the bank." And he goes, "Oh fuck, I can't have Jokic, can I?" It's too much money. It's way too much cash. Like, the rest of your squad is nearly impossible to complete with Jokic. It's like, for a BBL reference, Horse, it's like having Matt Short and Jamie Overton and Glenn Maxwell in your starting team. Yeah, you've got to make a lot of sacrifices.
That's unreal. Wasn't it like 25% of the salary cap tied up in 3 players or more?
It was 38% of the salary cap tied up in 3 players. And honestly, that's what you're going to be doing this year if you pick Jokic. Like, it's not a lot of cash. Like, when you look at it, you're going to have to find a lot of bottom dollar rookies. And there's when you're picking rookies, the risk is that it takes them 2 to 3 months to get into their work and find a decent role within their team. So we know rookies start notoriously inefficient as well. So that's probably the big concern there, is picking all these bottom dollar guys. They'll be maybe, not great cash generators to kick things off. So it kind of hampers you a little bit. VJ Edgecombe is the 5th most owned player in Philly. Philly, again, don't have a great schedule to start, but I don't think you're going to be relying on playing him. So I don't think it matters that much. Another rookie in Colin Murray Boyles is the 6th. Now, we'll go 7, 8, 9, 10 real quick rapid fire Mattrix. Luka Doncic, yes or no? How do you feel about him in a quick little 10-second summary?
No, at this point. I'm going to look at it a bit more. Whereas I think there's growth. It's just not. If I'm spending $19 million in this format, honestly, it's going to be on a center or a forward. So,
Yep, fair enough. Anything to add, Horse, on Doncic? He's in my team at this current point in time.
Not in my team, no.
I feel like guys that accumulate stats across the board are in, going to be big focal points. Like, a guy that can go and get your rebounds, assists, points. I know he's going to miss shots. His efficiency isn't amazing, Luka. But he just went and got 3 steals a game in the Eurobasket. Like, we're not going to expecting that at NBA level, but he's a steal a game kind of guy. I feel like you're going to want guys like that are going to average near triple doubles. Like we talked about Jokic. Like, Luka can put up Jokic numbers. Let's face it. So, I feel like 19 mil's kind of underpriced for Luka. I think I've got to work out what the magic number is. I think I worked it out, but I can't exactly remember what it was unless it's still in my calculator. Here we go. $620,000 per point is what each player is priced at. And honestly, 19 mil, what's that? If we do that times 19, 430, that will come up at 1.2 million per point. Yeah, I reckon that's underpriced for Luka. Anyway, Anthony Edwards, 16.2 mil, Matty. Yes, no?
Yeah, I'm not touching him with the 10-foot pole. I think you've
Neither.
asked me on purpose because you know my opinion on Anthony Edwards. I honestly don't think that there's any growth. I think he's relatively inefficient. Highlight reel player, which is why he's in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, big dunks don't get you extra points in Supercoach, sadly. Horse, Anthony Edwards, I'm in the no category with Matty on this one. You know, good points guy, definitely a highlight player, but doesn't accumulate stats as well as a lot of other players.
No, he doesn't. And yeah, just to go on Matrix, I'm not touching him with Matrix's poll either. So your poll is safe, Matrix.
Shorter than 10 foot?
No, depends how excited he is. Yeah.
Horse, you can kick this one off, mate. Andrew Nembhard, I know you're a fan. 9 mil.
I'm a huge fan. Yep. Get around him.
Is he in your team?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Right now.
He's in 20% of teams.
I really like what he brings to the floor without Tyrese Halliburton. So we went through some stats a couple of weeks ago with Kingy on one of our podcasts. You can go and check that out on YouTube and all good audio platforms. But without Tyrese Halliburton in the side, he averages more points, more rebounds, more assists, shoots better from the field. He plays better with the ball in his hands. He's going to be the number one in Indiana. He's going to be controlling the offense. He's in my team.
He's not in mine. Feel like he's kind of like a big game player, like a playoff player. He played his best basketball in the playoffs last year when he got his opportunity. And yes, he'll have his opportunity, but I don't know. I'm not as appealed by him. There's a guy that's a mil more that I'd be picking over him, and I'm sure we'll talk about him very soon, but I'd rather pay the extra mil for that point guard. Number 10 is Victor Wembanyama, 19.9% owned, 21.8 million. I think this one it's a name pick, but what Wemby can do, very rarely can you see another player replicate that. Like, he is a freak, an absolute freak. I think he can do some pretty scary stuff. When we're averaging 3.8 blocks per game and 1.1 steals, that's, significantly better. It's obviously just doesn't have the assists that Jokic does, but everything else he can match, I think. So it's the question mark, Matty, becomes, does Wemby match or exceed Jokic's assist buffer with the extra blocks that he can get in that category?
So the thing is that I don't think we'll end the year with Victor Wembanyama being more dollar-wise than Nikola Jokic. I just can't see that happening. But yeah, maybe bang for your buck, dollar for dollar. And it's hard to talk about, what is he, $22 million as if he's being bang for your buck. But we're talking 10 points in just stocks, in just steals and blocks. Like, turns the ball over a little bit, but definitely not enough to deter me.
Turns the ball over less than Jokic.
Yeah, I currently don't have him in my team, but I understand if you do have him as your premium option.
You can only pick one, really, of these. We'll call them premiums, like 20 mil plus players. I think you're only going to be able to have one. And for me, it's the 7 mil that I can save between Wemby and Jokic. I can do some pretty good things with that 7 mil across the rest of my squad. So
you can do some damage.
I could do some damage
with Matrix's pole.
Yeah, less than 10 foot pole. That is the top 10 most owned players. We're not going to dive into them all. We'll be doing plenty of podcasts on Supercoach content to come.
Before you move on from your top 10 there, have a look at number 11. He's the one that really interests me right now.
Giannis. Yeah, talk to us.
Yeah,
he's going to be running the offense at Milwaukee. The ball's going to live in his hands. His usage is going to be up. We know he loves to attack the rim. He rebounds. He's going to get assists this year. He scores shitloads of points. He shoots from a good percentage from the field. He's going to get you blocks. He's going to get you steals. At 11, I would expect that to be inside the top 5 when NBA Supercoach starts.
It's the assist bump, isn't it, Matty? Like, that's probably the one thing. Like, he's going to have the keys, and he's had the keys for a while, but I feel like his assists are going to go up this year. What did he have last year? 30.4 points, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Honestly, he could borderline. I reckon he could go 8+ assists this year.
Yeah.
It seems like he's extended or advanced his game in that respect. And a block and a steal. Like, yeah, I'm with you on that. He definitely should be higher owned.
Yeah, he's the first player I added. And yeah, I'll have to look into schedules and stuff. You know, it opened a few hours ago before I start to work out who I'm looking at captaining. But I've added Giannis and put the C on him. That was my first thing I did. So
yeah, and he's got the dual power forward center, which is actually kind of handy. So we haven't talked about duals yet. A lot of players have duals. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of flexibility when it comes to trades through this year. Speaking of schedule, that's a good little segue. We can bring up the schedule graph. So for anybody who wants to know a little bit about the schedule, I know we've had a few questions around how do I know who's playing where and all this kind of stuff. The big focus is how many games each team is playing per week. Now, if you can go to #basketball.com and you can go to their free NBA fantasy schedule graph, and that is exactly what you're looking at on the screen on YouTube right now. So you will see how many games a team is playing, and it'll give you a really good guide on, I guess, the players to start with. And, you know, we see here that there are 6 teams that start with a 2-game week. That's the Chicago Bulls, the Denver Nuggets, we were talking about Jokic earlier, the Houston Rockets. So if you're interested in KD, might be a slower start. It's actually a really bad schedule for Houston to start. They've only got 1 4-game week in the first 6 weeks. They've got the New Orleans Pelicans have a slow start into a really nice run of 4-game weeks. Then you've got the Philly 76ers who have 2 2-game weeks in their first month, which is tricky. And the Utah Jazz have a 2-game there to start the season as well. So this is going to give us a really good guide, and we're going to come back to this and reference this a fair bit. We'll probably put our own together just so it's a bit easier to follow than this. But yeah, #basketball.com. What stands out to you boys when you look at the schedule? Is there anything, or maybe any players particularly, Maddie, I'll start with you, that you might avoid that you would have considered previously based on the schedule?
Look, not really. Like, you're looking at a lot of green earlier on in the year. So my first reaction was not to react to the schedule, which I know probably doesn't do well for this segment here. But I first looked at the first couple of weeks, and I was having a look at it over on RotoWire, and I'm like, the schedule here isn't going to deter me from anybody at this stage. Like, you're seeing so much green earlier on, and maybe you're missing a game or two over the first 3 or 4 weeks on some of those guys. It wasn't enough to turn me off anyone. So I was like, I'm going to pick the team that I want and work it out later. So
I think it's probably a fair approach at this time of the year, especially. Horse, how do you feel about the schedule? Are you in the same boat as Matty, or are you looking at it a bit closer?
No, I reckon Matty's got rocks in his head. I think you need to plan. I reckon you need to look at the schedule here and go, all right, the Bulls, yeah, they might have 2 games in the first week, and then they've got 3 4-game weeks in the next 7 weeks. Or you've got your Clippers who have got 3, then 2, and then they've got a bunch of 4-game weeks. Or I saw that, you know, Atlanta Falcons, Boston Celtics, they don't have any 2-game weeks until everyone has them in week 8. Atlanta Falcons.
Can't wait to pick Kyler Murray at point guard.
Yeah, how does Lickney Swingers sound?
Big
Atlanta
double,
Hawks. you're an Atlanta Hawks man too. I sincerely.
I know, I'm very
apologise.
offended. Yep.
Yeah, Tingus Pingus will be pissed with me. Boston Celtics, but scroll down again if you can, mate. There was a few more teams down below that had a pretty favourable. You got the Toronto Raptors there if you wanted to get spicy with any players there, or the Sacramento Kings if you're worried about your Nikola Jokic having a slow start. You could go Nikola Jokic light and go Demetis Sabonis and play that line. So
he's your favourite player, Sabonis, I reckon.
I think the schedule does play a bit of a part in it.
I agree with Horse. I am much closer looking at the schedule. And look, it's not a difference between life and death. It's gonna be the difference between you being first and being 50,000th. But at the same time, I think it's something you still need to look at. Because, I mean, let's look at, we'll use a few teams as an example here when we're going through it. The ones that stand out to me, specifically Houston Rockets are the first team that I'm looking at, and I go 2-3-4-3-2-3. That's pretty ordinary. You know, when over that period of time, if you've got a team that plays 4 4-game weeks over that time, that they could be playing an extra 5 to 6 games more than the Houston Rockets through that period. And that is significant. When you've got a 20 point per game average, over 7 games, that's 140 points potentially that you'll have on top of a player that you've gone in another direction that is around the same price point. So it's you can't ignore it. You have to consider it. But sorry, Matty, go.
See, I get that, but that's if I'm comparing two $15 million players. That's when I'll look at the schedule and pick who I want. But I'm picking guys that I'm going to generate cash, and I think I'll get that money back at the back end of the year when, like, obviously break-evens are calculated. Oh, not obviously. Break-evens are calculated with the amount of games allowing for it too. Like, people aren't going to drop cash because they've played 2 games and that. Like, my opinion is that if you've got two $14 million guys and you can't decide or you can't split hairs between the two, that's when I'll look at the schedule. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, and that's a good point. The Knicks don't have a 4-game week until week 6. Is that going to deter you from picking up to be fair, I'm not touching any of the Knicks players with a 10-foot pole just due to the fact that there'll be a big minutes decrease this year. The San Antonio Spurs, funnily enough, for people looking at Wemby, play 1 4-game week in the first 10 weeks of the year. So will that be a difference between you picking Wemby or not? So there's a few things to look at. You can't just ignore it. But yeah, I agree with Matty. It's not the be-all and end-all. It's not the life and death of your Supercoach team, but it's something you've got to look at, I think. So #basketball.com. That's where you get that. It's free. And we've got Hammer in the comments here. We're going to have to get him on for a show as well, just to keep the NBA faithful happy. Bring Mattrix and Hammer back together.
Free Hammer was trending a bit earlier on. I sent him a text. I said, "You better hop on, mate." Free Hammer is trending on YouTube at the moment.
I can imagine. We'll get him back involved at some point for sure in the preseason.
Yeah.
Is it time to build a team? What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
All right.
Wheels up.
We'll zoom this bad boy out. I'm going to have to clear my team off here. So anybody wants to have a look, that was the kind of random team that I put together. So if you like it, go nuts and copy it. But we're going to build our own team as a consensus. So how do we want to build this? Do we want to start with the guys like the non-negotiable cheapies that are going to facilitate the rest of the picks? Because I think they're probably more obvious picks. What do you reckon?
I think it's a good idea.
I think that's best.
All right. Cooper Flagg, number one player. We said he should be 100% owned. Let's put him at power forward for now. He's a small forward, power forward dual, $5 million. He can slot in there. And I guess also you're going to have a very cheap bench. I think that's probably what we'll say straight up. But Cooper Flagg is very playable at that money. So I think it can definitely save you some cash elsewhere. In terms of ownership, where are we looking at next in terms of these cheapies? Because there's a fair few options. How are we feeling?
Number 9 on your list there. Love it.
Mattis Bazelis. Love it.
From the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, we've been super high on him in redraft, so it's
we've
hard
spoken
to
about him in a couple of podcasts that we've done as well, Braino, and the potential breakout that he could have this season. So very high on him this year.
We did a episode with Adam King on breakouts and sleeper candidates, people that are being underdrafted at the moment in redraft formats, and he definitely featured. So obvious that we had to pivot because we all had him in our list. Matty.
Oh yeah, just one thing I wanted to say about him is he's already almost showed that potential to break out. Had a really good end of last year, so really poor at the early end of the year, or just not used that much at the start, and then had a ripper end to the year. And from what I can see, and I haven't hopped on a calculator to be honest for about 10 years, but I haven't hopped on a calculator for this, and I think it's priced at his average. So if you take his last 20 games into account, I think you'll find a $10 million player or more in Bazelis. So.
Bazelis has got a break even at 21 in week 1. That's 10.5 average. I think it was 10.6 average last year. So that is honestly, I reckon he could do that in a half pretty comfortably. And we saw at the back end of the year there, those last 4 scores there, obviously they're 3 games, that's not in one game, but from the week 14 all the way through to the end of the season when he did get an increased role, he's putting up some pretty nice scores there. So yeah, definitely a guy that you want in your team. I think he should be pretty well owned as well. Where are we looking at next? What are we thinking, Matty? Your pick?
Igor Domin.
Like it.
Looks like he'll be starting for the Brooklyn Nets. And honestly, anybody that's going to start and going to get that opportunity at that rookie basement price will be in my team. Even if he doesn't start, he's going to get bulk minutes, 25 a night at least.
Yep, agreed. Cheapies, we need more facilitators. We need to open this up a little bit. Where's your head at, Horse, with where we look next?
God.
Let me give you one. I'll go.
Jay Huff.
Yes, actually, that's where I was going. So, great minds. Only 2% owned at the moment, Jay Huff.
Really
5.44 million. Likely the starting centre for the Pacers to start the year.
Miles Turner's left. Yeah.
Miles Turner's gone. Isaiah Jackson's coming off an Achilles injury. James Wiseman's coming off an Achilles injury. Got an extended opportunity last year in Memphis in flashes, and not a big rebounds guy, but a guy that can score the basket. And
score the basket and gets blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy there's a few different cheaper options at centre, but I think he's probably one of the picks of the lot for sure. And only 2% owned, so I'd imagine that comes up pretty quickly. Where to next, Matty?
I've got a couple. They kind of, if you want to stay on bottom dollar guys, I'm kind of struggling at this point.
Let's start to fill the books then.
Yeah, I'll probably start to look at a Cedric Coward, but I wouldn't push that opinion on you guys. I think that there's a real opportunity for him to start this year,
especially at the start of the year for sure.
Alonzo Ball. So Darius Garland is their starting point guard. He will be out to start the year. Honestly, I think until late November. Lonzo Ball is going to start hot. There's honestly no real other point guards on their books. Lonzo Ball has shown that when healthy, he's an absolute gun. You've seen Ball jerseys walking around, and to get that for $7 million, that's a steal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Definitely an option. Look, there's Harper, there's Edgecombe, these cheaper guys. I think we probably need someone decent at point guard now. Let's round out point guard and finish that one off, because I think Demon can be on the bench.
I'd play Demon at shooting guard because I was really struggling to find a shooting guard that you could play at that cheap bottom dollar. Maybe even Lonzo off the bench, because I'm pretty high on D'Lo being there and then going a gun after that, or a better above $10 million player after D'Lo, with Kyrie Irving being out. He's just going to be thrust into a bigger role where he can be quite inefficient. I think he's going to definitely cover that line in assists, and he had his worst year ever last year. Not super old. I think that you could see a bounce back year in a better situation. So,
yeah, sweet. I'm gonna throw one up there, and a guy that I'm looking at, especially to start this year. Good stat accumulator, a guy who gets stocks, a guy who will score, and his assists will get a bump this year, and that's Derek White. 12.67 million. He's 4% owned at the moment. Shooting guard, point guard. I honestly think that he could be borderline $20 million guy with the amount of usage he's going to get this year. No Drew Holiday, gone to Portland. Obviously, Jason Tatum's out, who had the most usage in Boston's team last year. Jaylen Brown is talked about a fair bit. I'm actually not a huge fan of Jaylen Brown. I think he turns the ball over a lot. I think he's quite inefficient. Derek White is the guy that you want, that won't hurt you with a ton of missed shots, doesn't take 20 shots a game and hurt you in that capacity, and he also doesn't turn the ball over that much. So gets those out of position rebounds and will have a bump in assists. And his steals and blocks for a point guard are huge. So I'm pretty high on Derek White this year.
Matrix, what does Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's right hand have in common?
I don't know.
You won't see either of them this year.
True.
It's true. Can't go left, can he?
No,
he definitely can't. I mean, and that leads to turnovers and things as well. Derek White's honestly an underrated part of Derek White's game is his efficiency. Something that I don't like to get pigeonholed when we look at category leagues. I think Derek White is a guy that I will buy into this year for Supercoach. So,
where do we go to next? Still got two small forward spots open. We'll leave flex to last. I think it's probably the best play. Where are we looking next?
If you need a cheapie, depending on injury and how he goes in the preseason, I really like Ron Holland the second from Detroit.
Okay.
Bit of a defensive beast, scores the ball inside. He's not great from the perimeter, but doesn't take a lot of perimeter shots.
Yeah, okay. Haven't been looking at him too much from Detroit, but we'll chuck him in there and he can be a little bit of a placeholder for us for now.
I like Chris Boucher. I like Brandon Clark to start the year. Honestly, I just start to look at Boston because they trade away any sort of talent. Obviously, they're going for a draft pick. I like Boucher and Brandon Clark in that sub sort of $9 million range. Brandon Clark, I think, given an extended role, could definitely rise $5 million pretty quickly. So
yeah, Zach Edey's out to start the year. He's back in November. So there should be at least a month for Brandon Clark, you'd think, in Memphis.
Yep.
I think it's always good when you're making your first team to go with the more expensive player. Just it allows you then a bit more flexibility to trade down. So we'll go with Brandon Clark to start.
With Bain going, Matrix, you're a big Memphis man, so I want to ask you this. GG Jackson's only 4.2 mil. Do you think they use him at all in an offensive role in Memphis, or do you think he's too far down the depth chart to matter for NBA Supercoach?
I think he's too far. Like I do think like we've got a lot of lengthy guys, and GG Jackson has played a role, much like Vince Williams. I just can't see. I see one of their point guards missing out, whether it be Scottie Pippen or their new signing. And I can't see Gigi Jackson or Vince Williams really hitting the floor in more than 8 minutes a night until there's some injuries there, or more injuries, to be honest. Because you've got rid of Zach Edey, but then you've just moved Brandon Clark in, and Brandon Clark spent the better part of 2 years injured as well. He was somebody that Memphis was super high on. I just think that he's going to be the guy that gets the opportunity first. And because you would have to move Jaren Jackson Jr. to center to get Gigi Jackson any sort of meaningful minutes. And I just can't see it happening.
Okay.
Fair. All right, we've got some spots to fill. I reckon we can probably start attacking some half decent, options, point scorers. Where we're looking at next. So I guess maybe let's go shooting guard, and let's try and fill these gaps here. At the moment, Peyton Pritchard is shooting guard eligible at 10 mil. He's the one that I would have preferred over, who are we talking about? I was comparing him to 9 mil Andrew Nembhard. I'd probably prefer Peyton Pritchard getting that bump there. The question just becomes, do you really want White and Pritchard in the same team? That's probably the question mark. What do you think?
I don't think you want White and Pritchard. I think you've got to choose between those two when it comes to that.
Well, one guy I think you don't have to choose between is Cade Cunningham. I think he's probably one of the better options at shooting guard or point guard, wherever you want to have him. 17.7 mil, I think I'd be more than happy to pay that. I reckon he's honestly like an early 20s guy. He'll make you cash, but he's also going to be a premium scorer. He's a guy that can get you boards. He will average 8 assists per game. His three ball and his efficiency's improved over the last year. He's got through that kind of second, third year syndrome. I honestly reckon he's in for nearly a career year this year, Horse. What do you think on Cade?
Massively high on him. Like, he's going to might be a bit of a stretch for some, but top 5 MVP voting by the end of the year. He can just do everything.
It all comes down to how Detroit go, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
They might shut him down at the back end of the year. He just doesn't seem like a guy who wants to be shut down. So it's hard to know what's going to happen come February, March, but I think he's nearly a must. If you're looking for a premium guy, we talked about the fact that you want stat accumulators, the guys that kind of contribute to nearly all the categories just to accumulate Supercoach points. And Cade is one of those guys, in my opinion. So, sure. He'll be in my team come round one, no doubt about it. And if we look at the Detroit schedule, it's not amazing to start. 3-3-4-3-3 to kick things off. So I honestly think that he could probably match someone on a 4-game week with only 3 games.
I think so, yeah.
Where else do we go, mate? We've got $81.6 million in the kitty here. We've got 2 starting spots to fill, and the rest are... Oh, sorry. We've still got, Demon starting and Lonzo Ball, who I don't think we want starting.
No.
Where do we look next? Who are you a fan of?
I think Giannis is a must start. I think you've just got to put him in, slap the C on him, and watch him roll the first couple of weeks. So we spoke about him before. Points, good field goal percentage, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He'll do it all. I think he's a really solid option to start the year.
So we'll chuck him in at flex just for now. Gives us a bit of flexibility to work around the rest of our squad. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I'm very high on Giannis this year. I think we all agree on that. That he's. Would you go Giannis over Wemby to start the year? I probably would.
Yes.
Personally, yes.
Yeah.
And again,
it's only 1.5 mil.
And exactly what you said earlier about schedules, and it's kind of both. If you're looking at 2 guys that are exactly the same price and you can't split hairs, look at the schedule. And nobody really has a worse start to the year than the Spurs. So.
Yeah, look, 1 4-game week in the first 10 weeks of the season. It gets nice from there. Week 11, I'll tell you what, you're going to want Wemby. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 4-game weeks to finish the year. So that's definitely a time you want him. But if we look at Milwaukee to start the year, they've got 4 4-game weeks in the first 7. So Giannis is going to get a pretty big leap. That's worth the extra 1.5 mil for sure. Now the cash is starting to dwindle. We've taken Cade, we've taken Giannis. Where to from here? We can probably fit in one more primo or 2 more primos potentially, like those sub 20 mil guys. Where are we looking?
I was kind of saving it a little bit, but I like Jalen Williams, just because he can do all those out of position things. It seems it's easier to get a rebound than it is an assist. And this guy can do a little bit of everything from the shooting guard position. I'm not finding a lot of shooting guards I like. In my team, I'm starting Norman Powell and Jalen Williams. I think Jalen Williams will be right up there, but I do think that I'm not sure if we can have Cade and Jalen Williams. I was just going to mention him. If we need to save some money later on, maybe you can go Cade down to Jalen Williams and not lose too much to start the year.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. I personally still prefer Cade over Jalen Williams. I think Cade's a moral. I think, honestly, like he will nearly be a borderline must-have. Mm-hmm. But having the small forward flexibility for Jalen Williams is an advantage. You're not going to have many guys at small forward that can put up the kind of numbers that Jalen Williams can do. Speaking of small forward, a guy that I'm pretty high on, disregarding schedule completely, is Josh Giddey. He's only 14.7 mil. He is point guard small forward eligible.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, that's good.
So, when you have a guy that can fill 2 of those positions and you can put him in at small forward and he can put up numbers like rebound numbers like a small forward, power forward, but also get you those assists. I reckon he's in for a big year. He's just re-signed as well for Chicago. That was probably the one thing that was holding us back is, we didn't know where he was going to be or whether he was going to re-sign. He's just gone and signed a 4-year, $100 million contract with Chicago. So wheels up, as we'd say, on the NRL pod for Josh Giddey. The only issue with having Giddey and Buzelis is they're both on a 2-game week to start the season.
Yeah, you're not winning team of the week the first week, but yeah.
No. Yeah, slow start. Make the sacrifice. I think it's okay. And, make your ground up later. If it's just a one-off 2-game week to start the year and then everything comes good after that, it's not an issue, I don't think. We've got 3 spots to fill, 27 mil.
There's a good question in the chat, go Booker over Williams. Honestly, with how many missed shots and how many turnovers Devin Booker's going to be getting, I won't be touching him for Supercoach. I'm so high on Booker when it comes to category leagues.
Yeah.
But I do think the second I take Booker in a category league, I'm tanking a lot of positions. I could be Booker's biggest fan this year, but I won't be touching him for Supercoach. No.
With the -1. No, I mean, in the NBL Supercoach last year, you didn't have the -1 for a missed shot. So you could bank on Bryce Cotton, you could go on all of these guards, Parker Jackson, Cartwright, and all these guys, knowing that if they shoot fucking 36 shots and miss bloody 20 of them, it doesn't matter. It meant nothing.
Mm-hmm. Now it does.
Whereas it means something in this.
And to get assists, you're going to get turnovers. And I mean, with some of the spuds this guy's passing to, he's going to get turnovers.
And the problem is it's a 1-to-1 too, right? It's not like a 2 points to 1 missed shot. It's a 1 turnover to 1 assist. So you get kind of, it hurts you even more, really, for the turnover guys rather than the missed shots.
Just shouting that out, Matrix. We've got Phoenix coming out tomorrow on YouTube. So stick around, and if you want to take 20 minutes out of your life to listen to not much about the Phoenix Suns, that'll be up from 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Nice.
It's a Devin Booker circle jerk.
Keen. All right, we've got 3 spots to fill. We've got 27 mil. We probably need another, or actually, depending on whether do you want to start Lonzo Ball at point guard, Matty? Do we need a cheaper point guard?
I'd rather start.
I'd put Jalen Williams at small forward, have Ron Holland on the bench, and then put in another shooting guard there. Or maybe if you put Lonzo to shooting guard, then pick up a point guard.
Let's play around with this a little bit here. So we'll put J-Dub.
While Braino's doing that, Matrix, Walter Clayton Jr., some raps coming out about him from Utah and the way that he can score the ball and potentially a bit of playing time early on. Interested at all?
No.
Well, that was a good chat.
You haven't podcasted with Matty too often. This is just regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. To be honest, like you haven't added somebody like Ace Bailey or somebody like that when it comes to Utah. I'm not mentioning. Yeah, I'm not. Like that's way too deep for this. To be honest,
I think Ace. I'd prefer Ace Bailey at power forward on my bench.
I would love to delete Ron Holland from this.
I'd rather go Bailey personally at that spot. If we look at ownership, like he's 36% owned, I think he's going to get a good run. Mm-hmm. And the upside for him is pretty big compared to Holland. So that's probably my preference there.
Because for me, Ron Holland's behind Toby Harris, Isaiah Stewart.
Who Harris?
Play at the
Houses.
Houses Harris. And then behind Isaiah Stewart as well. And I do think when they need threes, they're just going to be more confident in playing. They'll just play Duncan Robinson or something like that. And when do you ever not need points? I think this team's not going to be the defensive powerhouse. I just can't see Ron Holland getting more than 18 points per game. And I think you got to be out on the floor for this. So.
Okay. I'm probably with you on that. We probably need a good centre. We don't want to have Jay Huff starting. So we need a playable starting centre. Let's kind of tick that box.
We'll move Giannis there.
Want to move Giannis there?
Yeah, and then that gives you, obviously flex stands for flexibility. It gives you the flexibility to...
Good math.
Yeah, I know.
Quick math.
I thought it was captain to start off with. Like, I just thought of Giannis standing there flexing.
Stand in front of the camera like this for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we need a point guard. That's where we're at.
Well, I'd like to put in Nemard, but you blokes don't like him.
Nah, fuck him off.
D'Lo.
D'Lo?
I like neither of them.
Give us a $10 million option then.
Yeah, okay, let's find a $10 million option. Oh, your boy Jalen Green hasn't had a mention in about 40 minutes. No, Peyton Pritchard. But you can't have White and Pritchard. That's the problem with this team.
So what I think is you go a 10 million, because we just spoke about point guards and how we think that they're dudded a little bit in this. I think you go another $10 million guy. I don't hate Nembhard, a D'Lo, somebody like that, and then go heavy on like a Sabonis or somebody like that in the flex. Because you only have the one spot at center as well. I really like loading up on an extra center in there.
I think that's probably the play, isn't it? Yeah, have a center or a power forward at flex, one of those top tier guys. All right, we'll go with Nembhard. There's your 9 mil guy. We need a bench guy, and then you're going to have some cash left over. So you're probably going to have about 14 mil. I don't think we'll have enough for Sabonis.
I don't think
with Nembhard.
I saw that you're hovering over that bloke from Milwaukee, KPJ.
Yeah.
For me, it's interesting. It will be interesting to see who starts out of KPJ and Cole Anthony. So both of them have been known to chuck shots up in the past, but in a starting role, both can score the ball. Cole Anthony has been known to fill the stat sheet a little bit in the past. He gets you out of position rebounds, can get you some steals as well. Has been known to block a shot here and there as well, which is, for a 6 foot bloke, pretty out of the ordinary. So Cole Anthony is one that I do have an eye on. I think he's about 7 mil.
Cole Anthony, let's have a look. Hey. Yeah, he is 7 mil. It's a bit awkward price because then you've only got 11 mil for a flex. Yeah.
And I prefer Lonzo to that only because I don't know who's going to do it, KPJ or Cole Anthony.
That's right.
I'm not joking. I reckon Lonzo Ball could be playable as a point guard. It just depends on, shooting guard only type players that you want to target. But like he is startable, I think, for at least the first month until Darius Garland comes back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably we need to probably fill a bench spot at point guard and pick one of these kind of cheapy guys. And it's Harper or Edgecombe really. They're both the same price. Where do you lean with these two guys?
Honestly, probably Harper. Can Nipple? The Nipple?
Yeah, the guy's just a three. He just shoots threes though. But we could move Demon to point guard.
Yeah, you can move Demon up and
like the Nipple. He's an interesting one because like people are pretty high on him. I just don't know where the peripheral stats are for him. Like I just feel like he's a guy that will shoot threes, and that's kind of where it ends.
I think the peripheral stats come from being out on the floor, which I'm just not sure happens with like Edgecombe. Edgecombe's the best player out of all these.
Yeah, I agree.
Harper's the best player, but Edgecombe's right up there. But like Paul George is going to be healthy to start the year. It's the second Paul George gets injured, that's when I'm getting Edgecombe.
Yeah, it's a when, not it's an if. It's a when, not an if. It's definitely coming. It's just a matter of when. All right, we'll just put in, where is he? He'll be in shooting guard, so we'll get Demon up to point guard. And we'll put in the Nipple. And that'll keep Josh happy in the chat.
Yeah.
4.8 mil.
And I can see Josh is in the chat. I went looking for Frank Kaminsky, but he's not in there, so my bad. I'm sure he's going to be sad that we don't have Ryan Kalkbrenner in our team and nearly every other Charlotte player. The cork and the nipple.
The cork and the nipple. That's what we need. We need a starting point guard and we need a flex.
Okay. Let's go hunting. What have we got at point guard?
We need value point guard if we want to have a decent flex. That's the challenge I think we have right now is probably we need like a sub $8 million point guard that's going to be value. Unless we can move Lonzo. If you want to put Lonzo in here, and we can maybe look at shooting guard because there's not really.
Well, you can look at both. You can look at shooting guard and that. What'd you say? Sub 11K. I'm just going filters.
Sub 8K.
Sub 8K. All right, that makes it hard.
Jalen Wells from Memphis. What do you reckon, Matty? This is probably more a you thing.
Scoot Henderson, I like more.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Scoot, but he's like nearly 10 mil, isn't he?
8.
No, he's 8.7.
Is he?
He's a point guard only, though.
How about TJ McConnell? Oh, you can't go Nembhard and McConnell. I like McConnell at 8.3.
We don't have Nembhard. He was too expensive.
Shout out the McConnells.
Yeah.
Who were we going to put in?
Evan Porter Jr.
Scoot.
I would rather pay an extra mil for Scoot than get KPJ.
Yeah, cool.
We've got 14.2 to work with in flex here, and let's see who pops out because I mean
we're real close to Bam Adebayo.
We are. Laurie Markkinen. I was looking at. I'm super high on Laurie Markkinen in redraft leagues and category leagues, but I looked at his scoring. It is putrid in Supercoach. It is putrid. I'm not touching him with Mattrix's poll. Jalen Green.
Bounce back season for DeAndre Ayton? No. Don't like it. How much money we got to play with? Sorry.
14.7.
Okay. Denny Avdija? No, we've already got Portland.
And as you can tell, for everybody watching, this is raw and unedited. No planning, no notes, no nothing. We're just having a chat about players. We've probably spent about maybe 30 minutes each in this app so far to start things off. I'm a big fan of Asar Thompson, but he's not a flex. He's a guy you'd probably pick up at power forward or small forward. I think he's in for a big year this year. Denny Avdija is also another guy I think is in for a big year this year. We can get chat.
Miles Turner's there at 12.9 mil, but that's almost as expensive as he's ever been in Supercoach or when he was on the fantasy platform, which is the same scoring.
Yep.
So we're not really going there.
Yep, that's fair. Let's go 24, 25 points and filter it that way because it'll be based on cash. And we'll look at the most expensive players. Not DeMar, not Okongwu's, not Zach LaVine. Yeah, it's pretty grim at this price point. It's an awkward price. I feel
Laurie
like
Markkanen's only 11 mil.
Yeah, he's putrid.
Yeah,
his scoring's rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Embiid, I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. Basalenka.
Can you just scroll up for a sec?
Where am I looking?
Oh, you know what? I'm not. No, scroll up in. I just want to have a look at what shooting guards and stuff you've got.
Oh, on the team, yeah.
On the screen. You're non-negotiable on Cade, huh?
I am, but we can move him if you want. It's only a rough team to start. So who do you want to bring in at shooting guard to free up some cash?
Well, I was more thinking of moving somebody like Jalen Williams up, saving a little bit to go to, like, getting a Norman Powell or somebody to get somebody in at flex like your Bam Adebayo, who's 15 mil, who's the best of that awkwardly priced guys. Like, I'm seeing some good guys for below $15 million, but I'm not sure the scoring allows Donovan Mitchell or your Ja Morants or your Austin Reeves or your LaMelo Balls to be good options in Supercoach. So I really want to get up to, honestly, a Scotty Barnes or a Bam Adebayo. And I know you're probably higher on, like, you can, like, did you have Josh Giddey in?
Yeah. Yeah, he's in now at small forward. Honestly, Denny Avdija at 13 mil, with the team that he has around him, could do some pretty good things this year.
Yeah, I could get around Denny Avdija.
And then that frees us up with 18.9 mil for flex then, which is a much better situation to be in. You got guys here like you could get Cade at flex, KD, Zion. We're looking at even Evan Mobley. You're looking at some much better options now here.
I really like Zion for this format. I'm not touching him in redraft or anything because I don't want my season to be derailed. But he's just a trade away in Supercoach. Like, tell me that's not like the type of format. And like people in the chat were mentioning Joel Embiid. Like, if he was right for the start of the year, I'll start with Joel Embiid at $16 million because you just trade him out if he gets injured and he ruins 1 week in this. Like, he ruins your whole season in other NBA formats that I've played in the past. Mm-hmm. Like you draft at the start of the year and then you keep that team for the whole year. Like, I agree. I like Zion.
Let's just do Zion for vibes because it's a vibes pick too, for sure. And we've still got 1.3 mil left in the bank there to use as trades. But this is a rough guide on where our heads are at to start. Is Zion Turbo or David Fafita? He's
Turbo in the Super League is in Super League Supercoach is unreal. So
Turbo in the Super League will be Larry Markkinen in Eurobasket.
It'll be Laurie Market. He'll be Josh Giddey at C grade at Frankston.
Maverick country.
He will be. Yeah.
Imagine him going up against Herbie.
Oh, God. Jordan, Jokic worth fading. Yeah, we spoke about the start. He's just too expensive to get a good solid team together. So we won't be starting with him to start.
Like, think about, so we made some pretty big sacrifices, I feel, like not having an elite point guard and some options like this, and we still don't have enough money to get anybody better than, like, a Cade's an unreal choice or a Zion's an unreal choice, but we still had to cut costs there. You had an extra $6 million in Jokic in there somewhere, and it's a real task. You have to be really confident in some of these rookies, and I'm just not.
Yeah, exactly. That is, let's go. This is the team. Derek White, Scoot Henderson at point guard. We've cut a bit of cash there to be able to afford guys like Giannis and Zion. Igor Demon on the bench. You'll notice our bench is pretty much bare bones. I mean, look, honestly, I could get around cutting down Brandon Clark to a cheaper guy if we needed a bit more cash as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lonzo Ball and Jalen Williams at shooting guard. The nipple on the bench. Giannis at center. Jay Huff on the bench at center. Denny Avdija and Josh Giddey. I love that small forward combo. With Ace Bailey there at small forward on the bench. Cooper Flagg, absolute must, 100% must own. With Mattis Bazelis at power forward. Brandon Clark there on the bench. And then Zion in the flex. there's a bit going on with this team, but I reckon it could be solid. So and yeah, for anybody worrying about Lonzo, Darius Garland's out until I think late November, so we'll get at least a month of Lonzo at probably starting point guard. You reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. I think he's going to be starting point guard. Their depth chart at point guard starts at Lonzo and honestly ends at Lonzo.
Yeah, feels that way. And then Max Strus out as well. Bit of DeAndre Hunter love potentially. He's just a bit overpriced in Supercoach, sadly. But yeah, that is our first team, our first very raw draft, and I'm sure things will change. If you want to see our final teams, we'll be putting together our final teams, and they'll be exclusive in the Patreon. So the link's in the description below if you want to sign up. It's actually only $6 a month now if you sign up before the end of the week. So that price will be going up to $10 a month. So if you want to get involved now, you can. It's only $6. You'll lock that price in for the full season as well. So get involved now, otherwise the price will go up.
April.
Yep, so the price will go up at the end of this week as of Sunday night. So get in real quick there to secure that price. Yeah, plenty coming up over the next 6 weeks as well, with 40 days and 11 hours until the first lockout, 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the 22nd of October. So plenty of content coming your way. We'll do some deep dives on the positions. We'll give you our opinions on, from a Supercoach perspective. We've got a ton of redraft content out there, Matty, but Supercoach, we'll be doing some separate stuff for Supercoach as well, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the thing is, like, I know a lot of us were Supercoach guys and NBA guys, and now, like, two of our great loves have fused together. So we're gonna get around it. We're gonna have chats flowing. The WhatsApp is always humming. You get access to that as soon as you sign up to Patreon, and you can keep that. We're going to be doing articles. We do some exclusive videos and stuff in our Patreon as well. Just get involved, get around it. And for $6, honestly, that's cheaper than a medium almond cappuccino at the moment, and you get it for the whole month
with skinny milk and a sweetener.
I could have sworn there was
milk. It's already almond cap.
Could have sworn there was going to be a beer reference there somewhere, but you missed opportunity.
He's different. That's like I'm not sure if I like it.
I'm an almond latte guy.
You're absolutely not. And I'm sure everybody watching would know already. Horse, what have you taken away from today, mate? First look at the app, first look at the scoring, first look at the players and the value. How you feeling about it all?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Got to be honest. We get to talk NBA Supercoach and we get to talk about Matrix's poll. So two of the great loves with NBA Supercoach right here, ladies and gentlemen. But it's 40 days. We're going to have some leagues kicking off very, very soon. The first league will open up later this week, and it's going to be exclusive to Patreon members only. So you guys will be the ones, or the members of that Patreon group will have first access to that league. So yes, we will have leagues going, but the very early ones, members only.
And of course, for anybody dipping their toes into NBA Supercoach for the first time, but maybe you've never played a redraft league, you've never played a proper draft league outside of Supercoach, we'll be running those leagues as well. So yeah, keep an eye out there. Obviously, like Mick mentioned, Patreon will get first crack. All the subscribers get first in, but we'll be filling multiple leagues across Yahoo is where we'll be doing our redraft format drafts this year. So we've already got over 30 episodes floating around on YouTube as well. We've previewed 24 of the teams. We've done already 4 mock drafts. So if you want to get a gauge on, or you want to dip your toe into the redraft world, there's plenty of content already there on Ball Logic that you can go and check out on the Insight YouTube. So that'll do us, I think. Good little hit out for the first one. Plenty more content coming. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for getting involved in the chat as well. We'll do our best to answer questions as we go. So if you're watching this on delay, drop your questions in. We'll do our best to answer and get back to you. Otherwise, we'll be back over the next week or so to bring you the next Supercoach episode. We'll preview the positions and start to dive a bit deeper into the format. See you then, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thumbs up.
Cheerio.